we're recording.
Woot.
Did you
test
we
the
did
mic?
it. I did test it, so if it doesn't work, I'll have to overlay the sound.
Yeah.
Which means you won't get a video, because I'm not doing that. Anyway. Hi. It's 4th of July weekend.
Woot.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize I haven't posted a podcast. I'm going to post the last episode this weekend.
Nice.
But we've gone 2 weeks. We do bi-weekly, so we're not off track completely. We're just a little late. But anyway, I have notes this time because I've had a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's start with food.
Okay.
Because one of my things on here, and I think I snapped you guys about it, is I always thought Sean, he knows that I'm coming for him.
Well, I don't know what this topic is.
I always thought Sean was an INTJ because he does everything, every process inside, and we agree on most stuff. And my best friend's an INTJ, and I get the same love / we mesh, right?
Yeah.
And then he orders food. And I love you, but you make it confusing for people, and it drives me fucking crazy watching him order food and watching the person taking the order get confused, and then he gets upset, and I'm just like, I want it to happen. So what do we say he was? INFJ.
I ordered 2 things.
Oh.
I said them both very clear.
No, you didn't.
I said a venti, what's the green crap called? Matcha lemonade and a venti water. She got it completely wrong. And it was my fault.
Someone asked to see Sono, sorry.
So, and then she gets on me.
Uh-huh.
That she's like, "You're stupid, Sean." And
Okay.
I want to be like, "Get out of
listen.
the car and walk home."
But he didn't. Okay, my turn. Ready? I'm in the passenger seat, which we also need to talk about masculine and feminine energy, because I realize Sean is thinking way off the scale that worse is what I'm thinking as far as balancing that. We'll get to that. So anyway, we pull up, and this goes for any drive-through, but this particular one was Starbucks. Sponsor me, I love coffee.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm not boycotting you. Anyway. So we pull up, and I'm like, I tell him, because you guys know Starbucks is like, it's like you're casting a spell when you make an order. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
But once you figure out the ins and outs, you can have the most magical drink. And I'm just going to preface this. Real coffee people hate Starbucks. Starbucks is a treat. It's dessert with caffeine in it. I get that. So anyway, I'm like, okay, hon, a venti matcha lemonade with a venti ice water, which is free, because it was very hot that day. And then, did we get a pup cup
That's
that
it?
day?
No,
No,
that
just
was
that
it.
stuff. Okay.
That drink sounds good.
Which one?
The venti matcha lemonade.
It's so fucking good. So anyway, and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And gives you a little pep. And I'm trying to remember this because I knew we would talk about it on the podcast, but he pulls up and you order food backwards. He goes, "Can I have a matcha lemonade?
Nope.
Make it a venti."
Nope.
This is just an example. And don't note me. I will punch you on camera.
I
Domestic
wonder if I can
violence.
get the dash cam footage of me.
Fingers
'Cause I
crossed.
can
Do it. This is
Oh,
just
wow.
an example. This is just an example.
Look after.
Yeah. Oh, after. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put the clip on the podcast for
shit.
everyone to listen. So anyway,
Look, it's 420.
it is 420. It's
Oh, it's 424.
Yeah, I was like, it's 424 on mine. But anyway, that's just an example. He doesn't say,
Close enough.
"Can I have a venti iced matcha lemonade?" You always go backwards or whatever. And then he's like, "Can I have a glass of water?" It was how you asked for a venti ice water. Yeah. I would divorce me then. If that's not true, divorce me.
This is escalating so fast.
Even at like McDonald's or anything like that, which, surprise, everyone that knows me knows I
If
don't
it's-
eat a lot of garbage unless I feel like eating garbage. Okay, so anyway, the Blonde Society's like, receipts. He's got dash cam footage, so he's gonna pull it up. And again, this is just my example. He does it backwards, and you have to be loud and clear because they are like, there's a whole line of cars behind us. There's a line in front of us getting their stuff. I just feel like ordering food is hectic, so you have to be as precise and as ENTJ as possible to get what you want correctly. So anyway, you know what? I'll just record every time you order food from now on. Kinsey comments, he's perfect. She meant Stono. Anyway. So here we are. So
He's perfect.
but then I think about you guys, how, like, you always order the food, right?
If I remember to get her order, yeah, usually. You know,
Okay.
right? Like, you
Yeah,
prefer.
but I have a funny complaint about Chris ordering.
Okay, you go. Your turn,
Oh.
Kelly. As Sean pulls up dash cam footage.
Yeah.
Please tell.
I mean, there's nothing to trigger the dash cam to save the footage, but I hope it does.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
not
Go ahead,
saved.
sorry, I'm
Oh, no, you're good.
Wow. What is it?
So Chris is normally loud, right?
Yeah, I'm usually super loud. Oh, this is hilarious.
Wow, you packed this in.
This is a fine criticism. I'll take it.
But for whatever reason, sometimes when he orders, he's like, I'm loud, and then they come over and he's like, I would like, and then he turns his face away from them, like in the menu, and like whispers into the menu, and they're like, what?
Not whisper. I just
No, that wasn't exactly
lower
right,
my
but-
volume.
but
I think it's because when I'm used to telling people things, I am used to looking them in the eye. And I learned when I was young, like when you look at people in the eye, you can't use your normal voice because they'll back away. So I learned to be like, okay. Like
But you're
this.
not.
Is that why
you
people
turn
back away
away
when I
from them.
talk? What do you mean they'll back away? I go full send.
I feel like my voice is so loud that if I talk at my like normal volume like I am right now and I'm looking at some people, especially people who haven't met me yet, sometimes they're like, this guy's talking loud.
This is your normal volume?
This? I don't know. Is this lower or louder right now?
Lower.
Lower.
Lower. Yeah, that's what I don't know. There's probably some weird
I feel like
psychological
most
reason it
humans
happens.
can't. I like your loudness.
Yeah, her thing where like
But I get
my
what
volume
Kelly's
goes
saying.
down when I order, like it happens. I just haven't figured out why it happens
Wait till you get kicked off live.
and how to like trick it. What's that?
I'm gonna get kicked off the live.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
It's a cigarette.
4th of July, freedom fighters.
George Washington was a hemp farmer.
Yeah, that man was smoking this shit all the time. I mean,
You know what I love? Wait, we can segue into this too. Complaining about people. I love. Where are you going? Where's Sean going?
He's gonna listen.
He's gonna listen.
He's checking the
You might
background,
want to
yeah.
get live
Wow.
dash cam footage. Anyway, well, I guess not.
Technology.
Fact checking.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Real fact checking.
this is like that time of year. What's it called? An election year, basically, where
yeah.
people complain about stuff that they actually don't know about. And as someone who knows about some stuff, it annoys me when people. Okay, for example, taxes. Like
They don't own a business.
all right. 1, 2. They don't understand how income versus assets work.
Yeah.
And they're like, tax the rich. And it's like, they do. That's why there's different tax brackets. And as somebody who have clawed my way into different tax brackets, because I grew up very poor, everyone's like, eat the rich, tax the rich. They do, but the difference is you can't get taxed on certain assets. So rich people make their money into assets like real estate, art. That's why people love art so much. Things like that. So I get so annoyed this time of year when people are like, tax the rich or this and this about the president or like things like that. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
name the 3 branches of the judicial system and we can talk. And nobody ever can.
And also, there wasn't income tax till the 20th century.
Don't get me
Also-
started on the
also-
Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, like, we just tariffed everyone.
The
And we were fine.
the richest of the country is not static. Like except for the tippy tops,
Like
who are
that
always
1%.
going to be rich.
Yeah.
They're all people are coming in and out of that 1%.
Yeah. No, I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I just don't understand why you would look at at any government that exists, but especially the federal government, and be like, you know what? The solution is to give those people more of our money.
Right.
Like, no fucking way. They're incompetent.
Federal taxes go to whatever they want.
Yeah.
There's no itemized receipt on federal taxes.
Uh-huh.
We're just learning that they fail all their audits and just have billions of
Yeah.
trillions
But if
of
we
dollars
fail an
that they
audit,
just-
straight to jail.
Yeah.
Straight
Like,
to jail.
if I get one decimal out of place, I'm a criminal. But they could just be like, of course we fail it. Because that's the only way we can make budget.
You didn't pay us $2,000 that you owe us? Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. No, one of my favorite things is like people realizing other countries, they send you a bill. And like our country's like, figure it out. We know what it is, but you have to figure it out. If you don't figure it out, we send you to jail. But then like every other country on the planet's like, hey, you owe us this much in taxes. Just pay it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Because like, you know, with 4th of July and all that, there was a lot of interesting posts here and there about our founding fathers. And I'm like, okay, our founding fathers were like mostly, except for like Ben Franklin, 22 or younger.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be taxed, and they wanted to like have guns and stuff, like and practice their free religion. And there's so many people that will just post weird stuff. I guess I don't know if it's like in their brain, and they're like, I'm gonna post this, or they read it, or no, you know what? They probably watched a TikTok somewhere. Oh, Sean's ready for his dash cam. Pause it for a second. But anyway, if you don't know how our government works, me and Kelly talked about this a little bit, so we'll water it down though. Then you shouldn't be allowed to participate in it. And I have to, I don't know how true this is. I looked it up once. So if it's not relevant stat right now, but it was something like 2/3 of Americans have an average or below average IQ, but then also only 1/3 of Americans vote. And I'm just like, where's this third?
Yeah.
Where is this third of voting happening or whatever? I don't know. And then the libertarian in me is also like, what do they do with our votes? Because I just feel like
legally,
the popular vote.
The states don't even have to allow us to vote. The states can just vote on their own. They don't need us at all.
Yeah.
So
the popular vote was like the popular
It's like
vote
to keep
for
the masses calm.
Yeah, popular vote for the president was
for
not
funsies.
an original feature. That was added much later.
When we got television. It was probably after we got television. Because how else would you know? It's Paul Revere riding through towns going like, this state's blue, this state's red,
Yeah.
this area's purple. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, even the Constitution wasn't an original feature.
yeah,
Right,
we need to
right.
go back to the Articles of the Confederacy.
No,
Where
Articles
nothing
of
worked.
Confederation.
Confederation.
Yeah. nothing worked.
Not the Articles of the Confederacy.
All right, Sean, how's your dash cam footage?
She took so long to say, how can I help you, that I got no sound yet. So I'm looking at different angles to see if it's different.
Excuses, got it.
I know I'm right, so.
We'll see.
What were we
Anyway.
talking about? The
He's
government.
still working on the dash. Oh, the government. Yeah,
Yeah.
the government. I don't know. And then I think we've talked about this before. When people, because it's that time of year, and people like ask my opinion, and I literally am like, you don't want it. I'm like, you don't, like anarchy. Anarchy.
Yeah.
That's what I read this good book. I gotta find it again because
that's what it
really
is.
obscure. Like anarchy isn't what people think.
No, it's America.
And I don't know how else to describe it to them, where it's like, if we didn't have certain government agencies and bodies, we'd still be okay.
Yeah.
They don't get it.
And also, they set a boat on fire because tea was too expensive.
We had a whole... Well, and then I love when people are like, happy birthday, America. The revolution started because of tea or whatever. I'm like, it actually started with the Battle of Lexington and Concord.
Yeah.
If we want... But nobody reads books. So it's so hard to argue with people because... And then they think I'm mad because they're right and I'm mad because they're wrong. But they think they're right. Does that make sense? Like, they are like, see, she's mad. And I'm like, because you're stupid. Like, I paid attention in 9th grade history. And so, what is it? What are they?
Social studies?
Social studies was my favorite. I love social studies.
Civics.
But they stopped calling it that in high school.
What is it now?
It's just like history. Whatever
Oh, okay.
part you're in. I had a history teacher, actually. He let us watch, like, looking back now that I'm an adult, it was like some actual documentary about the Vietnam War, and he got in a lot of trouble.
Oh.
But it was like...
Telling the truth?
Yeah, it was just like how a lot of them got hooked on drugs in Vietnam and things like that. It was all the other things that you'd only learn if you looked it up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was vastly different than our book just had dates, a timeline basically. And this was like, but here's all the other problems, like
Most of them
socially
click
and
when they came out.
economically. Yeah. But it was a whole thing. So that was my first moment. Mr. Davis, what was I, a junior? That was my first moment where I'm like,
Wait a minute.
These books might be leaving some things out.
You mean they don't have to tell us the real history if they don't want to?
Right, and then just blame it on us being minors. Because that was what he got in trouble. They're like, they can't watch this footage. They're too young. And it wasn't, there was no nudity or violence. It was just like the journalists that went to Vietnam. It was just like the documentary was about the different things they captured.
These are the wrong ideas.
Yeah. So anyway, how'd that go? How was your...
Didn't get anything.
Dang it.
You shut the body cam off.
Yep.
I see.
Who's smart?
Speaking of that and the government, my new favorite thing on TikTok is when Karens go so wild that the cops come, and then the TikTok is the body footage, and the Karens are like recording, and the cops are like, "Don't worry, I am too."
Nice.
And they're like, "Where's your phone?" And they're like, "My body cam," and then they don't get it. That's my new favorite footage.
They all have to wear body cams now, right? Or is it state by state?
I don't know.
It's probably state by state.
No, is it?
If
It might be federal.
I'm a cop. I'm wearing a body cam everywhere.
Heck, yeah, I want to wear a body cam as a
wouldn't
civilian.
be a bad cop.
Well, but I'm like, go look at the footage.
Yeah, proof.
Mm-hmm. I didn't touch anybody.
Anyway, so you're an INFJ, Sean. You should take the test. When was the last time you took it?
Well, when you first took it, you were an ISTJ, which you're not.
ISTJ.
And then you took it again, you were an INTJ, which I don't think you are.
Yeah.
You care way too much about people's feelings.
I don't need the
to be
test
INTJ.
to believe that he's an INFJ.
Test is wrong.
Sean cares about feelings?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not mine.
Not yours.
Is that in the vows?
Oh, my God. Was
I'm
it?
just kidding.
Did you do your own vows?
Yeah.
We did.
Sean's were really touching and mine were funny.
Nice.
But true. I said I promise to never get off the couch first, and I'll die of thirst before I get up first. Like,
Yeah. Like, you were
but
just
Sean's were like,
feelings. Because
I know, I was
INFJ.
like, oh shit.
Did he
'Cause
whisper
he's-
them like that?
Because he's an INFJ.
I don't know. Getting married was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like the act of it.
If I could redo it, I would do it just like in the courthouse with just us.
Would
You would
dissociate?
redo it that way too?
No, I can agree with that, though. Where
I would have
can-
eloped.
It was very
We talked about it for a
unenjoyable
second.
doing it in front of a bunch of people I didn't like.
Shit! Whoa!
Well,
A bunch of people.
actually, I was thinking about this. I was like, my parents don't. None of my family members listen to this. Do
Yeah.
whatever you want. Everyone gets quiet.
I look at some of the wedding pictures and I'm like, who the fuck is that? Oh yeah, that's that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to get married on Halloween.
Hell yeah.
And then Sean did want a wedding too. And so we did a tiny wedding in
Is it
Hampton Park.
25 people. Did people give you guys grief for being so young? Or was it? Or is
They
that
live in the
like-
South, Sean.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was Jersey, they'd be like,
Yeah.
they're insane.
Even
But down here,
I was
it might be-
27 years old and asked my mom, I'm like, am I too young for this?
Yeah.
But it's just a cultural thing. I
She
feel.
was 21.
His family.
She
and
just turned 21.
Like specifically, his mom's side of the family did not want us to get married, but that didn't have anything to do with our ages. They just didn't like me.
Wait, why didn't they like you?
Because they're
It
crazy.
did.
Like,
I did not invest
When
in-
I say it, look at me.
Let's just say,
Like, they just were like, oh no.
when I had the.
Why wouldn't they like you?
When
Hold on. Why? I'm still on. Why doesn't your family like? Didn't your family like Kelly?
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, go. Sorry.
Oh wait, tell us, girl.
My brain had a bajillion thoughts all at once and was not listening to anything you said. So go ahead.
When I went to have the conversation with my mother about Kelly, the part of the conversation where I said, basically, shut the fuck up and never mention this again if you ever want to see or talk to me or your grandchildren ever again.
Right.
That part happened before I did any investigating into why they felt this way. And I never asked because I didn't fucking care.
That's masculine energy.
Like, I was just like,
protection.
do not talk about her that way.
100%.
I am biased. There were just a lot more fuck words and go fuck
Fuck
yourselves.
words. Got it.
My dad was there too, and I remember saying it to her, but looking at my dad and being like, "Yeah, I'm saying fuck to my mom, and you're gonna do nothing about it."
Oh, is that a big deal for Southern people?
Oh, I was cursing at her.
You're joking, right?
Oh, it was a very like.
I didn't realize how big a deal cursing was. Till
It was a
here.
very like. I mean, I might be misremembering this conversation because false memory, and it's like 20 years ago.
Right.
But the conversation was very like, we're not having this conversation. And I wasn't being nice. I was being very rude, and I was talking to my mom, and I was looking at my dad and being like, "You're not gonna say shit, because I'm in charge." Like, it was a very like, you have no leverage. So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows why?
I think at first, Sean. I have two sides of why Sean's family at first didn't like me. One side was Sean was a lady killer, so I think they were also like another one. Do you know what I mean? So I can get that.
Yeah.
I was the prettiest one. No. Sean dated beautiful women. Anyway, so it went to my head because I'm like, yes. he chose me.
Uh-huh.
So I am the prettiest.
It was me.
Yeah. And then I think because everyone makes up stories in their heads and stuff, and I wasn't fully tattooed. I had, for them, I had lots of tattoos, but I wasn't a fully tattooed person either, so it wasn't like a book by cover thing, but I was loud, and I think I'm funny, and I don't think they like that. They're just a very, like, put together, quiet family.
You also prioritize yourself and me. And they're like, no, that's not the way you're supposed to do things. You're supposed to be miserable, pleasing everyone else.
Group versus individual.
Libertarian.
Yeah.
Think for yourself, worry about yourself, and the group will be okay if each individual has their needs met. But that being said, we've talked about this too, where it's like a boomer mentality of like, you have to do what's right, even if you fucking hate it, or it doesn't work for you, or even if it makes you sick. And I'm like, I think out the womb, I was like, no. But nope. And everyone calls me a delinquent, but I'm like, no, I want my needs met. And his parents and my parents are very much like, well, because you have to do what's right. And I remember being a child and being like, what's right for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Define what's right. Like, I'm almost like, how are we defining what's right here?
Like, here's a good example, too. Like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it's like family gatherings and family as the group were put over marriages and relationships, and I feel like I watched that happen. Clearly that doesn't work. In every marriage, I think once you're a married person too, like, that supersedes everybody's rules. Like, fuck you, me and my husband,
that is
do
the
this,
family
or whatever. Right.
Yeah, that is now your family.
And I'm not saying to, like, detach, because, you know, if we post this on the internet, people on the internet will be like, oh my god. She doesn't, once you get married, that's it. You have to restart the family.
Fuck off, Mom and Dad.
No. I'm saying that you do take, and then don't get me started, too, on people who have babies. I'm like, no. Once you have a baby, everybody can fuck off, because now you make the rules kind of deal. But anyway, both of our parents, we've shared, like, things of, like, they'd make us do this, or we'd have to go there. And then we'd be like, Mom, why do we have to go? And our moms would be like, because it's the right thing to do. But the whole family's miserable in the car. And then you get out of the car and you're like, hi, Aunt so-and-so, I'm here. And you're, like, dying inside. Oh, my God, I forget.
And none of it's true because the family's lost complete touch. But we have the same deal. Like,
Yep.
Somehow we don't treat each other like we love each other ever. But because we share the same genetic coding, that means we have to get together once every 5 years and pretend that we do the other family thing. It's like
no, or get together every fucking weekend and pretend we like each other and not do any of the things we want to do in our house or need to get done, or like, it's wild to me. So, like, my example was when we were dating, it was like right before we got engaged. So we were dating for like 2 years before we got engaged. So we were seriously dating. But even though Sean was like a serial monogamist, like, he had lots of girlfriends that were beautiful, but they were boyfriend girlfriend. So I also feel like that played a lot into, like, she'll be gone soon, it'll be fine kind of deal. But I planned with one of his best friend's wives. They have a May and a July birthday, so we planned a June surprise party for both of our husbands so we could pool money, and it was huge. It was amazing. It was great. They're both turning 30. But then it also would throw off the surprise, like, whatever. Had his family in on it. Probably, I told them in February-ish, and then it was happening in June. I think something around April-ish, like a month or two before. Everything's planned, paid for. Like, I'm talking, like, kegs. Like, it was going to be great. Outside games. Everybody's invited, whatever. And, like, 2 months before, his mom's like, can you move it? Because his goddaughter was getting one of the Catholic things. Confirmed. I always get it mixed up. And I said, no. Because I worked in a hair salon. I was an employee. And I was like, no, I had to ask for this Saturday off, like, in February when I told you about it. So as soon as I got the Saturday off, I told everyone that it was happening. Me and Wendy planned it, And I was like, no, I can't. Which I also said this, and I never got an answer. I was like, but don't you do church things on a Sunday?
Right.
Not on a Saturday? And she's like, no, whoever, the aunt wants to have it on this day, and everybody comes over. And I'm like, okay, cool. So none of his family's going to come? Even though I told you. Long story short, no. No. And then his family came at the time, and it was weird. And his immediate family, that was it. None of his anyone else that was invited didn't come or whatever. And long story short, we're good now, all the things. It's just a story. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a story. It happened. It's true. Before someone comes for me or a cousin listens to this.
Yeah.
So, because, families, including mine, like to play that telephone game. And it turns into, like, Laura's a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But, yeah, it was really weird. And a lot of that, I want to say, we were probably married for 2 years until I felt like, as the wife who married in, until I felt like they were like, oh, I guess she's sticking around.
Oh, my gosh.
And maybe we should be nice.
Yeah.
And what have we been together since married 2015? So it's not bad. It got better each year when they visit. And
You're
stuff.
in now, right? You have good.
This Shark Week is 13, I think.
Oh, dating though, right?
Yeah.
2012 we started dating. 2015 we got married.
Word.
So whatever, that math, people can do their own math. Yeah, it took me 2 years of marriage. So that's like 5 years of being with you till I felt like somebody in his family. That's not true. His cousins were always nice to me.
Yeah.
But
props to your family, Kelly. I always felt welcome.
really,
Yeah.
you always feel welcome in my family.
Yeah.
Wow, that makes one of us.
I just feel welcome everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would say your family's not very judgmental at all.
And the LaCours liked me.
Yeah, the LaCour side of the family was
And the
fine.
Connors were fine with me.
It was just my mom's
It
family
was the
had
Hazes,
some
though.
weird issues going
So,
on.
do you think they actually like you now, or is it they're just like, we're like, if we ever say anything ever again,
No one's
about
gonna
that
be-
bitch. We gotta.
Well, his parents like me fine. I'm actually like super nice to them, so it's like, and no one else is. So,
Yeah.
the Hazes though, it's like when we're with them, which isn't very often nowadays. I just like blend into the background and don't really talk to anyone. I like his grandma Hayes, but everyone else is.
Yeah.
I just ignore them. They ignore me. It's all good.
It's like everyone leaves everyone alone sort of thing. Yeah.
But then
I
you've
want
never done anything, I'm sure.
To them?
Yeah.
No, I think their dislike of me just came from his mom not liking me.
Because
So-
you're marrying her son.
Yeah. My mom had issues with it.
Yeah.
And I think they were just like with, like family with family.
Sean's
Like they probably
mom
didn't ask questions.
had moments to the point that I asked Sean, like, I'm like, oh my God, is your mom like your BFF? Is that why she's acting this way? And he's like, no. Like they have a normal relationship.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought, because how some people are like closer to one parent. Mm-hmm. And we had a talk with his whole family and whatever, after this. But I thought it was like a mother-son relationship that I was stepping into.
Yeah.
And then he told me no, and I was like, oh, what is happening?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But yeah, it was interesting. But I think because we prioritized our marriage, we made it through that whole stage fine. If we didn't, because there's men out there, like, I hear clients and stuff that would be like, oh, that's my mom.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a talk with her, or I'm not going to say shit, or I'm not going to.
Yeah. I think there are people out there that can there are probably couples out there where it's like, I'm marrying you and I'm totally fine subordinating our relationship to like your parents. Like there's people I'm sure that are fine with that, but you got to know that. Like I'm not okay with it.
Right.
Like she's not okay.
And I think if it's like a broad cultural thing, it can work better. But
Yeah.
Oh, like if it's the whole group being that way? Yeah.
Yeah, but generally it's like I don't think it's a good strategy to be like, you know what, we're getting married and we're going to make that agreement about what all these other people above us in the tree think. It's like that's
especially
really shitty
when
way
they're
to start
really
from.
unhealthy too. Like it's like, why would you listen to these people? They're miserable.
Okay, so that goes into like, you have to do this family thing
Yeah.
because it's the right thing to do, but
Yeah, it's
everyone's
like,
miserable.
but you're all miserable. Why would I emulate that behavior?
Like
Half
nobody.
of them don't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
And nobody's happy to be here.
There's like riffs and stuff, and I'm like, you
It's
don't
the
have
weirdest
to talk
concept
to each other.
to me. But I almost feel like for my family, okay, so it was constantly family first, family only.
Yeah.
I can only trust family. Which, listen, I have plenty of family members. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And I, like, at a very young age, even my sister, like, who's 6 years younger than me, we would be kids and be, like, looking at each other, like, but you're miserable, so how is this the right thing? Or, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But it would supersede marriages and, like, for all these people to hang out and not get along and not have fun. And then I'm a very, like, organic person in the sense of, like, I'll pick up where I left off as long as you didn't do anything shitty. Like I think I like relationships that are just organic, and most of my cousins I got along with for real. I still text and Snapchat and things like that, but we'll go a long time without talking and then come right back or whatever. And then I have cousins who I have no ill will against, but I just don't talk to them. But I was like, in my childhood, I was just like, we don't get along. They're like, I don't like you, or you don't like me.
Yeah, like you fight. Like families have disagreements. Different people don't like each other.
But if
like
we
it's
all
normal.
tried to force like the cousin level, the cousins, it would be miserable. And I have groups, pockets of cousins. I think that still do it. But you can tell by their posts that they're like, Happy Easter.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know, on the beach Easter.
My thing is, I'm just like, there's no way that like, how are you like, especially like, because I have a big family, and I don't like me and my siblings. I've always gotten along fine as far as I know. Like we'd fight as a kid, but like not bad at all. Like they were like we didn't hate each other, and we get along fine now. But we don't speak a lot, and like because we all have lives. Like we're all doing stuff. Like unless we like need or want it, like who cares? Like why does it need to be a big issue?
I don't know.
I have a theory.
Oh, ready.
I wonder if, like, with Gen X and definitely with millennials, it was like the first time that people really relied on the ability to make friends. So, like, maybe the boomers and up, especially the boomers, aren't good at making friends and keeping friends.
So they stuck with their family.
They only have family.
Oh.
But because the families were so unhealthy, all of the millennials were like, guess I gotta make friends if I'm gonna live.
Well, and then the other part that never connected for me, and this is like niche, half of my family isn't my DNA or my blood family, and my adoptive mother chose, she was like, okay, cool, like we're doing this. But then would say, family first, and you can't, she'd always be like, you can't pick your family, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I mean, but I didn't pick them, they picked me.
Yeah.
But it like, it's just all ass backwards to me, too, because I would just be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I think I said it at one Thanksgiving, because we always have, like, a revolving door of friends at Thanksgiving, and I'm like, you can pick your family. Here we are.
Yeah.
And then my favorite thing to throw in people's faces, like, because my mom would, and people, I know people do this, blood is thicker than water. There's so many reasons. Ask Sean, I read the Bible once, most of it.
You gonna quote the verse?
And I'm like, wait a minute!
Yeah.
I left half the verse out. It's like the blood
of the covenant is thicker than the
water of the womb. So it's like, you can't pick your family.
That
like,
is literally the opposite. They basically were like, we gotta change this up if we're gonna keep these people captive.
But it's just like headlines. Like, these people only read headlines.
Yeah. When I read the article, it was the opposite of the headline.
I had a friend once, I was like, they were saying something about the religion or Bible, and I was like, oh, I read the Bible. And they were like, why? And I was like, I want to know what everyone's arguing about, number one.
Why would you not want the first
hyperlink? It's the most read
text?
book in the world every year. But I got one that had, like, the verbiage, I don't know, the Bible language on top, and then
Bible or
the basic English on the bottom.
It's the first hyperlinked document.
Yeah.
Because it has, like, bunches of references to other sections of it.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's
like
hard
a
to
text
read in order.
Yeah, no, it's
I
like
tried to read it one book at a time.
Yeah, and it'll be like.
And then I found
guess
the
what
books that aren't in there. I had
Like
this discussion.
Enoch?
Yeah, I had this discussion with a lady in a park once because I have a tattoo of Lilith on my leg, and she's like, "Can I look at you?" And I was like, "Sure." And she did. She was like looking at my because I had shorts and tank top on. And she asked me about Lilith.
Yeah.
Because she's a little demonic looking or whatever. And she goes, "Are you a Satanist?" Like,
Are you a
no.
Satanist?
I was like, I'm not. I forget what I told her. I'm like I think I was like something like, I'm a, when I die, I'll see what happens kind of person. And she just was asking me all these questions. And but she pretended like or maybe she didn't ever hear about Lilith. And I'm like, well, it's Adam's first wife. And she's like, what? She goes, where'd you read this? And I go, the internet.
She probably never heard it.
Well, I told her, I was like, there's missing books that aren't in the printed versions that you can go read. Just go on Google or whatever. And I was like, the Jews have Lilith in the Bible, not as a demon, as a lesson in the book and stuff. And she's like, what? So I was teaching her about it. And I was like, my little goth heart was like...
And there's special Catholic books, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a book where, like...
Oh, that's Sean's lane, not mine.
I think there's one where, like, one of the apostles, like, converts a talking lion.
Oh.
Like, it gets out there.
All right.
It's like, yo.
Well, and then my other favorite thing on that is it's speculated that a lot of the Adam and Eve and the Tree of Knowledge paintings with the serpent, like, the serpent is Lilith telling Eve, like,
Yeah.
You don't have to do what he says.
I didn't fact check this, but someone in my Twitter feed had a thing about Lilith that she wasn't written until like 480.
Really?
Yeah, so she's like way post.
Interesting.
Some angry feminist. No.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what?
Isn't that right around the time?
That's also when the Catholic Church formed.
Yeah, so there was probably there was a lot of stuff going down.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was reading about her, it was in my, I was Bible curious. Mm-hmm. That's what we'll call it, stage. I didn't look when she was written. Yeah. I was just like, this book's not in there. Mm-hmm. But I liked the part that they were both made out of clay, made into equals. Mm.
Yeah.
But I could see how that wouldn't work for some people.
There's a bunch of different, that's the thing, is
did you ever learn about it? And because you're the only, because you're the only Catholic.
I don't think we learned anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, valid. Fair.
Except for do what you're told, and it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And this,
and only good people go to church.
Uh-huh. And this is the correct translation, even though it was made 1,600 years after he died.
My grandpa didn't miss
question
on Sunday, but you would never know that he was religious.
Yeah.
I didn't know my grandpa was religious till I was an adult.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it's supposed to be.
Because he could give a shit what you're doing. He's going to heaven.
Because you know how there's some verse where it's let your light shine, and people are like, see, I just gotta tell people all about Jesus. I'm like, no, that means that people should be able to tell your something by watching your behavior,
right?
Not by you running your mouth.
There's something transformative about it.
Yeah. Which is kind of what we were talking about with the families. I act like you if your family is happy.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, there's a trend on the internet. I think when I say that too, it's mostly TikTok and YouTube that videos I watch or whatever.
Yeah.
Where people, I like it, so I'm on board. They're reframing their shitty parents.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They're like, you know what? My mom might have beat me every morning before the bus came, but she made me who I am. Mm-hmm. So that it's almost like hypnosis, where they're grateful so that they can just high vibe it.
Yeah.
Instead of being and one girl was like,
being bitter or angry about it does not help. It's only gonna make your life worse.
Yeah, one girl framed it as I am not a victim, I am not a survivor, because I am statements mean I identify as that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, me too, girl. I was like, me neither. You just learn from it and be a better person. Yeah. And I was like...
The way I like to think about it is you learn to detach from it enough that you can look at it neutrally and then decide. Because you might detach neutrally and look at something that happened and be like, you know what? They were doing their best. I don't care. Yeah. You might detach and look at it and be like, wow, I should never, ever go around those people ever again. But you can't do that if you're stuck in it.
Well, and then I think about the prefrontal cortex a lot because... A lot of my most dysfunctional formative years, all of my parents involved, were under 25.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, maybe you guys should have waited till your brains were cooked to have kids.
And probably not getting good parenting advice at that age.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. No, my parents are boomers.
Was it Mengele, the Nazi?
Oh, yeah?
Who, butchered everyone?
I mean, he was one of them, yeah.
But
he was a doctor. So
but he was doing all the...
Oh, the experiments.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So, there's a History Channel show called Finding Hitler, I think. And it basically tracks the Nazis after the war to South America. Mm-hmm. And there's all these German towns in South America. And there was some Mengele type experiments going on in South America, and one of the it was a kid who was being experimented on, and he's an adult now, clearly, but he met his wife, who was a German girl or whatever, and he was I'm glad what happened to me, because now I have my wife.
That's a good framing. Wow.
Yeah.
He would have never met her.
Did you know, actually, and I went down the rabbit hole, so I know that this is true, a lot of the Nazi structures leading up to... Okay, because everyone, I feel like, not everyone, a lot of people think we woke up one day and they were putting Jews in ovens. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But it was a lot of years leading up to it. And leading up to those years, and you can look it up because I fucking did. They took the Southern laws, like the segregation laws, and used that as their model, obviously, into way worse things. But they were like, oh, look, the Americans are doing this in the South. We should do this, but add murder. Do you know what I mean?
And then we took their school model.
Yeah. Like, people who, like, think I'm a crazy, like, conspiracy theorist or whatever about public schools and different things, I'm like, no, you guys need to read books.
Yeah.
Like, if you read things, there's a book I really want to read, and if you get to it first, let me know. It's called The Deep South. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
It was during this, like, pre-civil rights movements and things like that, when it was, like, you know, dangerous to be a person of color in the South, or I guess everywhere. It was a black couple and a white couple wrote this book together. They both graduated from Harvard. That's how they met and became friends. They're like, let's move to the South, but in our, like, respective race neighborhoods.
Okay.
And then they would meet. I don't know how often.
They would secretly meet?
Secretly meet, like, I don't know if it was every night or once a week or once a month, compare notes, and wrote this book so they would have parallel journeys.
That is commitment.
But they had to eventually leave because people were getting weird about, because they were doing it to observe and take notes and things like that. So
they were doing
obviously
science.
they were blending enough to write, and the book is thick.
Yeah.
So I really want to read it because it was just their observations and then their comparisons together. But I was like, to actually do it,
I would actually believe that book. I would be more likely to believe that book.
Inserted themselves and just tried to mesh into the communities that they were in.
And by the way, it's just set up by being there, and also like it's mixed race couples. It's like they probably were not going to lie or make things up.
Right, because they were really trying to jot down, like, what the heck is happening.
Like, it's clear, like, it's easy to guess that, like, okay, these people clearly probably didn't have a bias. Because to be that way and do that, like, to be that committed at that time, you're on a mission.
And to, like, move your life so that you could live in this world, to then observe it, to share it, so you could change it.
Yeah. Like, I want to understand people who don't agree with me.
Right.
But I don't want to move into their house with them.
Neighbor.
No.
Especially, like, you know, there wasn't a lot of protection back then either, of, like, and there would be moments, because I was watching this within a movie that was a true story in a book too. It's called Origins, if anyone wants to, whatever. There'd be moments in town when the white couple would observe interactions that the black couple was having, and vice versa, and they would be like, they would tell each other, like, oh my God, did you see that? That happened to me. And then they'd be like, yeah, but I observed. And it was, I don't know, I just need to read this book. It looks so interesting.
It's called The Deep South?
The Deep South.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll put it in the show notes if I remember. Wait, let me write it down now. Deep South. But, yeah, I don't know. I think the reframing your parents thing was nice. I was like, that's nice.
Oh, I think, as much as, like, you know, I think when you get together, your friends, tell your war stories, talk about crazy family stuff. But, like, when it comes to, like, structuring your life, if you base anything on, like, my parents did this to me, so I'm going to do that. It's like, that's, like, you might get lucky, but there's a lot of mistakes that can happen
or
from
if you
thinking about it
base
that way.
your circumstance on what previously happened to you.
Yes, no.
Get out of my face.
It's like, you should be oriented towards the future. You should be grounded in positivity.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want your worst memories driving the bus.
Right. Like, my mom was a drug addict, so I should probably do drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And even if you were like, I can't do drugs because my mom was a drug addict, well, you're just thinking about drugs all the time.
it's true.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was wild in my 20s, and there were things I've done and tried that I literally, though, was like, I could see how people want to do this every day.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, I'm not me. But then I have this conversation all the time, especially when I'm at, like, hair shows or beauty events or whatever, because beauty professionals are party animals. And don't get me wrong, I can throw it down, but I'm also older now, so I'm like, I'd like to go to bed or whatever.
The allure is not as strong as it
But
was.
they look at me and think I'm going to be the rager.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, go to bed. It's 10 o'clock. I gotta go. And they're just like, come on, Laura, let's do this. And I'm like, what? Jesus, no. I like sleep and my mental health and all those things. I was just having this conversation with someone where they're like, you don't party? And I was like, girl, first of all, from 20 to 20, when I met Sean, I'm good. I'm all set. I did crazy things. I got it out of my system or whatever. And I'm also like, in these realms, I'm like, we have to wake up early tomorrow. And be capable of things. And people do it. They have tools that they're using to help them do it that I also don't want to use.
No.
But, yeah, I find that's a conversation I always have to have, because I always say, I think I just made a post about this. I'm like, can we please go back to judging books by its cover? Because I want to be left alone.
Yeah.
When people always want to fucking talk to me, and it's always when I don't feel like talking. So can we judge a book by its cover? That like I have RBF. I'm covered in tattoos up to my like ears, and I'm not paying attention to you, so I'd like you to not pay attention to me, kind of thing. But people go out of their way to talk to me, and I'm just like, oh my god, just leave me alone. That is my dream. I don't know. That's my
invisibility cloak.
Yeah, I don't know though. I recently was like, I'd rather fly than
walks around with a little cute dog and
Yeah, that's
all
what
these
it is.
interesting
It's
tattoos.
He's mine.
You're
your own cute
unavoidable.
There's
I'm
a
avoidable.
sign on your back that's like, pay attention to me.
Or a magnet. Yeah.
But then in my life, one of my limiting beliefs is like I'm not seen. I'm not seen by the people I want to be seen by, not by strangers at the airport. Right. And I like even now in public, I'll wear big old headphones. And then I do the annoying thing where I'm like, what? And then they still keep trying to talk to me. Because I keep, guys, you know me. I'm a little bit of a dick.
You should get a sticker that just says, like, don't talk to me on the side.
Or a shirt.
Unstable. No.
Will bite.
But I do the thing where I just keep trying to put my headphone back while they're talking, and I'm like, they're not reading. I'm like, you fall within that 2/3 of Americans, average to below IQ. Get out of here. Or I love when I'm on a plane, people are like, where are you going? And I'm like, same place you were.
Yeah.
One guess.
It's always the Charleston flight. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Charleston.
Yeah.
With you?
Right.
It's grocery stores too. Like the old guy was like, I don't have any tattoos. And we're like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
I don't have any tattoos.
It's like, but my grandson got one once. Like, what?
I remember this because that was my mode of like, get away from me.
What?
And then this
yeah,
other
they
guy's
just
like,
blurt things out.
Why are we talking to each other?
he was like, oh, cool tattoos. And then sat there and showed us his like 5
really bad ones.
really bad tattoos.
Yeah.
And what they meant in like, and how you can see this one was a cover up.
My newest favorite tattoo actually are my crybaby tears. You can cry about it. My tattoo artist has the Crybaby Club. It's her club, and you have to be asked to be in it. And you can only be in it if you have a badass tattoo. She did my blackout, and she was like, "You want to be in my Crybaby Club?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And then she did it, and she goes, "Don't let the power go to your head." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "It's already
You gonna cry about it?
I'm like, "It's already there."
Aww.
I warned the salon team too. I was like, "Don't cry about it. It's really fun."
Someone's gonna hate it.
I'm so excited.
And you're gonna be able to just like dig it in, like sand it away.
Somebody call the ambulance.
Skin your knee falling off your bike.
Anyway, this is a great episode. Kelly, what's your thoughts?
My thought is that we're going to eat a bunch of hot dogs.
Oh, yeah. We're doing a hot dog sampler.
Yeah.
Because America.
America. Judicial, legislative, executive. Those are the 3 branches. If you need to know them if you want to argue about politics or vote. And I don't believe in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you have to describe what they do. You can't just know those names. You got to tell me a sentence about what they do.
Yeah. Who's in the executive?
Yeah, you can't just be like politicians. You got to say the president.
Funnier thing, and then I'm hanging up. My international friends that I've met through hair or whatever, they get to watch our news and we don't get their news. It's really interesting. They all, when I say they all, it's like 3 people that I text, like Australia, 2 are in Australia. Oh my God, the other one's in Europe somewhere. They don't understand why we only get to pick from 2.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. They're like, why you only have 2 people to pick from for president? And I'm like, you tell me. You tell me.
Makes it easier to choose the final person.
Did you hear this last Mexico election? There was like 36 of them.